Come to today's class. Today we'll be looking at pivot table, pivot charts, and slicers in Excel. So by way of explanation, we say that pivot tables are a set of powerful Excel feature that allows you to summarize, analyze, explore, and present large amounts of data very quickly. It equally helps to reorganize and group data from a spreadsheet into a more readable and meaningful format without altering the original data set. What do I mean? What does this mean? It means that, in a nutshell, that pivot table helps us to bring out the right kind of insights. It helps us to organize our data in such a way that generating insights, actionable insights from that data will not be difficult. At the same time, we would not alter the original data set that we are working with. Example is summarizing the total sales by region or by product category. Before us, we have a crime data, not a sales data. So we are going to use pivot table to extract some actionable insights. We can see crime type, crime location, crime date and time, and the rest of that. So we would use our pivot table probably to get the kind of crime that is committed in a particular area, or the drug type that is majorly taken in a particular area, and the rest of that. Okay, so that is that for pivot chart. When you must have finished generating or organizing and reorganizing your data, you move forward to pivot charts. Pivot charts helps us to visualize that which we have extracted from our pivot table. A pivot chart is a visual representation of data that you have gotten from your pivot table. It automatically updates when the pivot table changes and helps in identifying trends, patterns, and comparisons in the summarized data. Alright, it is a visual representation of that which you have gotten from your pivot table. Example of what I've said of a pivot chart is using a bar chart to show the kind of crime that is committed in a particular locality using the data that we have before us. Then talk about a slicer. A slicer is a user-friendly filtering tool that is used with pivot tables and pivot charts. Oftentimes, it provides buttons that you can click to filter the data interactively, making it easy to focus on specific data points. It's just a feature that helps us to filter, tools that we use. Tools that we use during our analysis in pivot tables and representing our work using pivot charts. Okay, we can use a slicer to show maybe the treatment history of this drug or this crime of the people involved in this crime using the data before us. Alright, so this is it for our little explanation on what we do or what pivot table is, what pivot charts is, and what a slicer is. So in brief, we say that a pivot table helps to summarize and analyze data. Pivot charts helps to visualize the information that is on the pivot table, and while a slicer helps to filter data interactively with buttons. We are going to see how these things run. So first of all, converting. Remember, we said a pivot table helps in organizing and reorganizing our data without affecting the original data. Over here you can see something like this. This is a work that I have done some time ago using this particular data. We have used it to generate to generate some insights, and then you can find your pivot charts here. But we are going to start all over again, to show how to get your data into a pivot table. So you go to insert, then you go to your pivot table. We want to use the data before us, so not an external source. We click from data, this table and range, and this pop-up menu will appear. Where do you want your pivot table to be seen? On a new worksheet here, and I'll click OK. Now this is what we have. This is what we have. This is how a pivot table looks like. You have all the fields over here. You have your pivot table here. Now going back to the first sheet, what exactly are we looking for? Remember I said this is a crime data, and we use a pivot table or pivot tables to extract insights, to organize this data without altering the original data set. This is the original data set, but we need to find what we want. Looking at this, we can find some location demographics of the people involved in this crime, and the crime type, and then the details of the crime that is being done, that is committed, and the drug type, the age, and the rest of that. Okay, so from what we have before us, we could say that we want to find out the area, or the area that is most populated in our data, area that is most populated with crime in our data. Okay, so we'll take a look at our data and see what to do about it. All right. So we move forward and we get to this place and say, on our fields, we would go, remember, these ID represent individuals that are involved in this crime, and we want to find out the location that this crime is mostly done. So we get our crime ID on the row, and then on the values, and then get the location on the row. So from what we have here, we can see that we have downtown to be 6,025, rural to be 1,962, suburb to be 4,100, and urban to be 8,094. So from the analysis that we have before us, we can say that the urban region records more of these crimes than any other region that we have here. We have the rural, we have the suburb, we have the downtown. Okay, and then this is one, we have found the location. Probably again, the people that owns this data want to know the drug type that is majorly taken by these people that commit these crimes. So I would just highlight this because I don't want to bring in another pivot table. We control copy, and then I'll click here and control paste. Now remember, we want to find the drug that is mostly taken by the people involved in this. So we come down to here, the drug type. So I'll remove this. Okay, I'll remove this. I don't need this crime location again. The drug type, I'll put my drug type on the row. So we get to see from here that we have 5,059, 5,044, 5,000. So we have methamphetamine. Okay, methamphetamine as the drug that is mostly taken by these people. All right, we have seen that the crime is more in the urban region, and we have seen that the drug that is mostly taken by these people is this one that has 5,063. Okay, we can look at our data set again and see what else can we find in regards to the crime that is being committed and the drugs that is being taken. Okay, we see the crime details. All right, we want to know the details of this crime and where this crime, the details is more. We want to know the details of this crime and where these details is more. So we go back to our pivot table. Again, I'll highlight this, I'll copy it, I'll come to this place and I'll paste it. All right, reason I'm doing this is I don't want to keep going back to have new pivot tables imported into my work. So what do? I'll remove this field. Remember, what we want to find is the area where the crimes are, the most of the crime, the details of the crime is committed more. Okay, so we say we have crime location here, and then crime details, we put it here in our columns. Let's see. So from what we have here, it's a lot. All right, it's a lot. Okay, bar fight, downtown, domestic disputes, and the rest of that. Okay, let me remove this field and let's see if this can stay here. Okay. Okay. Let's remove this field and our crime details. I will want it to appear here. These are all the breakdown. This is the breakdown of the crimes that is committed and the areas where they are committed more. Let's see crime location. Let's put it here and see. Okay, sorry, put it here. And then crime ID. Okay, so we get to see that from here, bar fight is more. All these ones here, bar fights is 425 for domestic, bar fight is 425 for downtown, 120 here, 260 here. So in the urban region, we have more people fighting in the bar. So domestic dispute is more in the urban region. Graffiti is more here. Home invasion is more in the urban city and the rest of it. So we see that most of the crime is committed in the urban area, giving credence to what we have here. This is a breakdown of the data a breakdown of the crimes that is being committed. This is a breakdown of the drugs that is taken, and this is the area where these crimes are committed more. Now we have generated some sort of insights from this data. The next is for us to represent it using our charts. You go to your insert and then you click on this. You choose whichever chart that you want. You can use this or this to represent your work. Okay, let's start with this one. Let's start with this. We go to our insert, we go to here, and then we have this. Now this chart, what would we call it? We give it a title. Remember, what are we representing here? The area with the highest number of crime. So we say area with the highest number of crime, area with the highest crime rate. Highest crime rate. Okay, now I can design this chart the way I want, put what I want and put what I don't want. The axis, can remove the horizontal Yeah, go to this place, or grid lines. First of all, we remove our grid lines, remove the legend. You can design it the way you want. All right, then our axis, we can remove the vertical axis. Good. And then we can put data labels, choose whichever one that you want, and then you can give this a color. Okay, give this a color. Yeah, okay, let's give this a color. Right, we give this a deeper brown, red, or whatever, and whatever color that you're giving to your work should match with what you're doing, so that you don't have color riots, you don't have different kinds of color. Good. So this is the representation of this first one. All right, we take it out. Maybe you keep it down somewhere. Here, find another bar chart, this chart or this one, anyone that you want, or you can put it this way or this way. All right, okay, let's say we want it to be this way. Okay, same process. What is represented here? The drug that is most taken or most abused. Drug most abused, right? And you can decorate it like you want, after which you can come to this place, remove the grid lines, remove the legend, and then the axis, you can remove the horizontal axis. Okay, and then you can give it data labels here, and then for this you can remove it, right click and hide all filled buttons. Good. You can equally decorate, give your bars a color if need be. You can choose different types of charts from here, different kinds of designs, and give it the styles and give it a color. You can choose the color you want it to have from here, your bars and the rest of that, and it will take that color. All right, so that is that. We are done with this. You can equally still give this whatever color you want to give it, like we did earlier. All right, make it bold, increase the fonts, do whatever you want to do with it. This is that, and we are done with this. You can do whatever design that you want it to have, but everything that you do, make sure that you are in line with the theme of the data that you are working with. All right, now in the same way, you can represent this with another kind of chart. Okay, depending on whichever chart that's available to you. We can use a funnel chart. Does it work here? Or we can use waterfall, whichever one that is available to you. Okay, a tree map, if it's available. Okay, it's not available in this Excel. Okay, so you choose whatever that is available to you. Okay, and then you work with it, whatever chart that is available, and then you represent your work with it. Right, now the next one is our slicers. So we go to insert and find our slicers. Now remember, we said that slicers are special features that help to bring out more points that we might want to show. Okay, more points that you might want to show. So you click on the slide income status. Probably you want to know the income status of those people that is involved in this crime. It is click on the button that you want. I would just want income status, and then you click OK. Now we have them as low income earners, high income earners, and middle income earners. This slicer, I want it to connect to the 3 pivot tables that we have. So I can right click on it and go to report connections, and then I will check all 3 pivot tables because I want them to be connected. I'll click on OK. Now if I click on the high income, it shows me the area that has the highest income. If I click on low income, the same thing happens. If I click on middle income, the same thing happens. So for the high income, we see that in the high income area is where the urban centers, they earn more from what we have. Yes. And then low income earners are more in the rural region, which is understandable. And then the middle income earners, they are more where at the urban centers as well. Which gives reason why they are able to buy some of these drugs, because some of these drugs are quite expensive. So this gives a good explanation to why these things are the way they are. Remember, I had to connect all 3 pivot tables. Okay. Sorry, I should connect all of them. Sorry, all of these things should be connected for this, yes. And uncheck this. This is for the previous one that I did. So sorry for this. All this should be connected. I click OK. So if I click on high income earners, everything changes. All right, everything changes. Now we noticed earlier that in the urban region we had more of this crime, and the urban region, that is where we have more income earners. And then in the urban region, that is where these drugs are taken most. In the breakdown of the crime, we see that in the urban region, that is where most of these crimes are committed more. Low income earners, like we can see from here, they are mostly found in the rural region. We have low income earners, they are equally mostly found in the urban region. High income earners in the urban region are just 2,097. Then low income earners in the urban regions are more. This is why the crime is on the increase. All right, the crime is on the increase because we have more low-income earners in our urban region. All right, and then the middle-income earners, they are equally most in the urban region. So with what we have before us, we can see why the crime is mostly found in the urban region, because they harbor the most low-income earners. All right, remember we said the pivot tables helps us to organize and reorganize our data. Charts help us to represent this data. The charts, look at them. These charts, they help us to represent these insights that we have generated, as you can see. Now, slicers are just buttons that help to elaborate the insights, to expand, to bring out more understanding, special features in the insights that we have generated. For you to use your slicer effectively, you have to get it connected to all the pivot tables that you have before you. And once you connect it, the button controls. If you connect it to all your pivot table, it controls both the charts and what happens on your pivot table. Take, for instance, if I click on the income, you see everything changes from this to your pivot table. right? Look at your pivot table. If I click on low income earners, everything changes as well. So because I connected all three of them, that is why it is working this way. So if you remember, in a nutshell, pivot table helps us to organize and reorganize and summarize information found on our data set without affecting the original data set. Pivot charts helps us to represent the insights that has been generated in our pivot table using charts, visuals, whereas slicers are just special features, special buttons that help us to bring out more, elaborate more information, elaborate more on the features or that is found on our pivot table. Thank you.